Kindling, where stories light the spark of memory, meaning and magic. I'm your storyteller, Awe, and today's tale comes to us from Ghana, where cleverness and cunning often meet in the court of the wild. Did you know that Ghana was the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule in 1957? A powerful moment indeed in African history. Well, today's story comes to us from the Akan people of Ghana. Now, in many traditional stories, roads symbolize more than just paths. They are symbols of ownership and connection. But what happens when someone doesn't need a road? Well, today's story explores this idea and is called Finders Keepers. And it also introduces us to one of the classic characters in West African folklore, Anansi the Spider. You may have heard of him before. He's clever, he's tricky, but sometimes he's just a little too greedy. So sit back and let's listen to the story of Anansi and the stolen cornfield. Once, long ago, in the season when rains soften the earth and green things begin to stir, there was a squirrel, hardworking, sharp-eyed, and quick through the trees. Now, the squirrel was the finest farmer in the land. Now, of course, after many years of tilling the same piece of ground, he noticed that the soil around him had become tired and thin, and so he decided that it was time to look for a new plot. So the squirrel did what squirrels do best. He climbed up to the treetops and then he leapt from branch to branch in search of new land, scanning across the forest canopy. After some time of looking, there, far in the distance, he saw it. Rich black soil, untouched by hoof or hoe. And so, down he came, scampering back to the earth. He cleared the brush, burned the weeds, and tilled the ground, and then planted his corn. And oh, how it grew, tall and green and strong. But because, of course, the squirrel travelled through the trees, he never had any need to bother with constructing a road to his farm. No paths led up to the fields, only branches. Now, one hungry morning, Anansi the Spider was out hunting, but he caught nothing. No rat, no rabbit, not even a beetle. Weary and empty-handed, he wandered deeper into the forest, and that's when he saw it. Cornfield, golden, glorious, thick with ripe ears, simply waiting to be plucked. Well, after he had spent some time admiring the lush crops in this field, Anansi noticed something strange, that there was no road leading up to the cornfield. Who could be foolish enough, he said to himself, to build a farm such as this without a road? No path, no proof, no owner. This may be my lucky day. And so he returned home full of ideas. The very next morning, he gathered his spider family together, all 100 of them, and whispered his plan. I have found us a fine farm with a plentiful harvest, but we must act fast. Before the sun wakes, we will build a path from our house to the field. We'll scatter broken pots, drag our feet, and make it look old. And then we will harvest. And so, before the cock crowed that very day, the Spider clan was hard at work, machetes swinging, bushes falling, and very soon a path appeared, wide and dusty and full of lies. Soon as the path was done, they then began to harvest. Day after day, they returned to the cornfield, hauling the corn back to their barn. But of course, after a few days, the squirrel began to notice that something strange was happening on his land. And so he came early one morning and caught Anansi just as he was bending over to pick up another cob of corn. "Thief!" cried the squirrel. "You are stealing my harvest." "Your harvest?" laughed Anansi. "Where's your road? How did you even get here?" "But through the trees, of course." "Well, I have a path, and it leads straight from here to my house. You have none, and so this corn is mine." Oh, the poor squirrel seethed. "I shall take you to King Lion's court to sort this matter out." And so off they went. Now the lion sat proud and regal and heard both sides of the tale. Squirrel told his side, and then Anansi spun his web of lies. Then, of course, the lion sent his messengers to investigate what they had been told. And when they came back, they confirmed that, of course, the only road leading to the field led to Anansi's house. Thought the lion. "I believe you, Squirrel, but I can only judge by what I can see. The road leads to Anansi's house, and so the land is his." So Anansi was declared the winner, and of course he wasted no further time. He and his family immediately went back to continue harvesting the corn. But the skies began to darken. Anansi and his wife tried to harvest as much corn as they could as quickly as possible, tied it up in bundles, and began to make their way back to their home. But very soon, a downpour came down, big fat drops of water coming down from the sky. Thunder roared, lightning sparkled, the wind began to howl, and Anansi and his family had no choice but to leave their bags by the roadside and go and find shelter beneath the trees. The rain beat down on the land for hours and hours. But then, finally, when everything became quiet and still again, and the sun peeked out, Anansi and his family returned to collect their bundles of corn that they had left by the roadside. Only when they came back, they found a huge black crow now hovering over their bags of corn. My friend, thank you very much for guarding our corn. We will take this now." "Your corn?" crowed the crow. "How foolish! Who would leave such a plentiful harvest by the roadside unguarded? Nonsense! This is my corn. I found it. I protected it from the weather. It belongs to me." And with that, before Anansi and his wife could even utter another word of argument, the crow picked up all the bags of corn and leapt up into the sky, flying away with the last remaining harvest. Anansi and his wife could do nothing at that point but watch in stunned silence. And the squirrel, of course, tittered from the top of the trees. And that is where the story ended. And so this tale ends not with a king's ruling or with a thief's reward, but with an unexpected twist of fate. And the moral? Well, a lie may seem to win the day in the beginning, but truth always flies higher. Perhaps, just perhaps, finders keepers then doesn't always favor the one who finds first, but the one who truly holds on. Now, this story, of course, is about a clever spider and a wrong squirrel, but it speaks to much more than that. It speaks to the history of settler colonialism. You see, just like Anansi the Spider, the colonizers often claimed the land by cutting roads and creating boundaries and declaring finders keepers. And just like Anansi, they claimed that the land was empty because it had no other claims to it in their courts. But of course, the land was never empty. It always held people, roots, and stories. As one First Nations elder once famously asked of the colonial officials in British Columbia, "If this is your land, where are your stories?" Now that question still matters because even today as we speak, all over the world, lands and resources continue to be stolen from their rightful owners, renamed and resold by those more powerful. It seems that there has never been a more important time to remember the lost stories, to protect the truth, and to honor the rightful keepers of the land. And with that, we say goodbye for today. Until next time, keep the fire burning, keep telling stories.